Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are starting a new series today of Hearts of Iron for La Resistance, the new expansion of Hearts of Iron, and I'm very excited to try out the new features. So, as you already know from the thumbnail, we will be playing as the Soviet Union, and the reason for that is I think it would be very interesting to try out the espionage features and partisan features for the Soviets. The Soviets historically were one of the nations that was most effective in using partisans behind German lines, and therefore I think it would be extremely interesting to use them and also try to use them in a fashion where we are trying to bring on world revolution. So we're going to try to spread communism via the espionage system onto other nations abroad. So yeah, let's go ahead and try that. I'm going to go with custom game rules over here, and I'm going to give a major buff here to Germany, just to spice things up a little bit and make it a little bit harder for us, because of course we are going to see that Germany is gonna go, I do want them to go somewhat historical. Can I go that default? Is that default? Yeah, no, default is fine. Okay, fine, yes. Did that actually register? Yes, it did. Perfect. So let's start over here. Let's start with the Soviet Union, and I'm going to go through the motions of building up the basically basic stuff over here as we go along, and I'm going to try ahead some of the new features. I haven't had too much experience with La Resistance, basically just dabbled into the game once, but I do think it's very interesting. So new layout over here, and we've got the intelligence agency. So we're going to go ahead and immediately create that. It's going to use 5 civilian industries. It's going to last 30 days. It's not going to last take that long. We are going to go with the NKVD and this insignia over here because why not? Other than it was a horrible historical agency. But nevertheless, that should be fine. Good. Let's go for the national focus here. Many different things that we could use. Great Purge, Middle Industrial Road over here. I think we would want to start here with a 5-year plan. Reason for that is that gives us 4 civilian factories, and that will be pretty good because currently we have something like, I don't know, 40 or so, of which 25 are used for consumer goods. That leaves 15 for the rest. Oh, look at that. There's the first bug that we're seeing. So up over here we are seeing in use 25. In fact, it's 30 in use, 5 for founding our intelligence agency, and 25 for consumer goods. So that does leave 10, not 15, left. Yeah, so available for construction it's only 10. Right, let's start by building out a little bit of civilian factories. Not too many. I think basically like this should be enough. So 4 civilian factories, and after that we're going to go focus on military factories. We're of course going to build them a little bit to the east of Moscow, just primarily so that it's not immediately being conquered. Stalingrad we can buff a bit, and you know what, let's do that before all of the other regions, because this does have slightly higher infrastructure, and that does boost things up just a tiny bit, but it's going to be enough to be significant, I think. Right, so without further ado, that I think does settle our civilian build queue. Let's go for research slots. We're going to go with a fairly standard loadout over here of basic machinery, industry, construction I think would be nice, engineering, electronic mechanical engineering, only 80 days plus 3% research speed. That is a very good one. But do note that over here all of the encryption has gone. So encryption has moved onto a new system that we're going to look at in a second. The other new thing is this over here, scout planes. So these are going to be extremely interesting, and we could in fact already try to research them at this moment. We could also research light tanks, and we are currently building light tanks I believe, so might be alright if we go for these just so that we have the upgrade ready as we go. Yeah, you know what, let's go for construction just once, and then we're going to change that around sooner rather than later. We've got a couple of free military factories. I think infantry equipment will be the order of the day. Some support equipment would be nice, some artillery would be nice. I don't think we need strategic bombers, we're going to ignore those for the moment, but we're going to build a couple more fighters over here. These are usually very important. I think we can do with fewer light tanks. That is going to be alright. Industrial motorized equipment I think is going to be fine. That does leave 2 further factories. In fact, I think we can go for at least 15 infantry equipments once we have them. That does leave us a little bit short on rubber. We're going to buy some from, let's say, the Dutch East Indies, and that should deal with all of that. We are apparently building something that is outdated, but that is just this naval stuff over here. And you know what, in fact I'm going to go down here with all of these naval builds because I don't think we're going to be that naval focused, and I don't know how good these builds are, but nevertheless we can also build some convoys, I think. Right, just to absorb stuff basically. Unassigned divisions, these are all just going to be lumped together in a second. Let's just build one big block over here of at least all of the European stuff for now, and that should be okay. And then over here we've probably got a couple of guys here in East Asia, which is also going to be nice. And let's say Central Asia is going to be another army group over here. And I'm probably going to sort that out in between episodes a little bit. It's not that important for now. We aren't training anyone currently. Apparently we do have, I think, a template here, which is not exciting, but it's still alright. So let's train up a couple of guys over here. Let's keep on training at least 12 at the very same time. And I think we can get you guys towards training from Moscow. That should be okay. Right, outdated equipment, that's just the one thing. Insufficient resources. Really? I thought we had bought enough rubber. Yeah, see, that just didn't register the change. Right, okay, fine, perfectly alright. So, that basically settles all of our movements here for the initial stuff. Let's accelerate time over here, and let's talk a little bit about the strategy that we are pursuing. So, I think we're going to use, of course, the spy features, and we're going to use them heavily. Now, one of our main objectives is, of course, going to be to spy on Germany and find out what they're up to, basically get a good overview of what they're doing. The other thing, though, is that I think we're going to try to pull in some of the minor nations that are close to us, specifically Iran, Afghanistan. We might want to pull them in. And here we are. We have created our intelligence agency, which is fairly nice. We don't have an operative yet. We are currently recruiting one. It's going to take 29 days. In that meantime, we do have this new setup over here, so we can build up our intelligence service and add new things to that. So we can, for example, build up our intelligence agency. We can basically get more intelligence by building, by basically unlocking all of these things. So in unlocking all of these things, we've got a couple of columns over here. The first one is departments, if you want. So we can build an economy, a civilian one, army, Navy or Air Force. All of these do give us more intelligence in these respective departments. So once we have established some agents in a country, we basically get more information, which is nice but not necessarily critical at this very moment. We also have got defense, so basically our counter defense, our anti-partisan duties. That's alright, but again not that important. Then we've got operations, so this is starting to get a little bit more interesting. Here we can do things like stealing blueprints, conducting strikes. Strikes is something like where you prepare a strike for your Air Force. Again, this is not that important for now. We've also got invisible ink so that we can use stuff better, plastic explosives so that we can sabotage a little bit better. That might be extremely interesting later on, especially strengthening the resistance efficiency. But for now, I don't think that's quite as important. Suicide pills, which does give us a higher death chance of our operatives, but it also means our detection chance is a little bit lower. All of this is interesting, but for now, I do think what we want to focus on is the operative training. So trying to get our guys to be a little bit more effective at doing their thing. And specifically, I think we're going to go for psychological warfare very soon, because that does give us a boost to ideological mission effects. So that would be very nice. We also could do some other things, but most importantly, I think, well, the only thing that I think we could do before that is the localized training centers. That does mean we're going to get more enemies in our recruitment chance. So basically, we have a higher chance of recruiting an enemy agent, which does give us a bonus. So instead of using Russians or Soviet citizens, we would be using, let's say, Persian citizens, and Persian citizens would be more effective at operating in Persia. So yes, I think that would be the first thing that we do. And this is going to cost us quite a bit of industry actually. So that is going to cost us 10 civilian industry for the while that we are building that up. And during all that time, this is of course not available for construction. You could see that number jump down over here. And that is very negative because of course this does mean we have less civilian factories to build up our military factories, which does mean we'll have less material, which means we'll have less divisions, and we'll have less to defend against Germany. So that is the downside of this, obviously, but I do think it's very interesting. We also got a new map mode over here, by the way, where we can see our counterintelligence is currently 0 because we don't have anyone doing counterintelligence, and yeah, so there that is. Now we can recruit our first guy over here. And these are the guys that we can recruit. You can see they are a little bit like the general system, so they have different attributes over here. For example, this guy can he would be tough to break, so he would be less likely to give up intelligence information. We've got an escape artist over here. We've got a seducer, which gives less detection chance, more infiltration effectiveness and infiltration risk. We've got this one is a very interesting Alexander Rodot. He's a natural orator, so he has a higher chance of boosting our ideology. That would be nice. And the stage coup is also a very nice effect. We've also got Kim Philby over here, a double agent and infiltrator. So he'd be much more effective at infiltrating the UK, and that would be very interesting for us. Also Richard Zorge here is capable of doing stuff in Germany, and he's well groomed, so he's slightly more capable of doing this. Now, Alexander Rado, do we see any chance of flipping Hungary before the war? Now that would be extremely interesting, but it would also be extremely exposed. Nevertheless, I do think you'd be a very good addition to us, so we're going to pick you, and we're going to send you down here into Iran, and you're going to build a network here for a second, and that is very nice. We've also got local trading centers. Local trading centers unlocked, which is extremely nice. So we're going to go ahead and go for the psychological warfare training so that our gentleman here is slightly more effective. We also have got a new event that we can pick. I don't think we want to go promises for peace, but here we go. We can recruit specifically against certain nations for now, but I do think what we want to do is create a Middle Eastern section so that we can specifically recruit someone from Iran maybe to maybe be a little bit more effective in that country, or Afghanistan, or maybe even Turkey. So one of these would be very nice, I feel. Does that count? Does Turkey count as Europe? No, it does not. So you can basically see we could recruit people from all of these nations, and that would of course be somewhat helpful for us. For now, I don't think that is something that we do need to do, so let's deselect that. Now the nasty thing is, because we can recruit in all of these European centers, we will always get this notification, and since this is irritating me, let's get rid of that. We've also finished our first national focus over here, which is great. That is giving us a little bit more in that regard. I think Stalinist constitution would be a very nice next choice. Armaments effort would also be good. 4 military factories is very nice, but so is the political power. So let's go for political power first. And we should see that we have a couple of factories available to us right now, even though we are using quite a couple of them on building up some of the other stuff. Research done. Electronic mechanical engineering. Let's go for mechanical computing. It's slightly longer, but research speed plus 4%. I think it's just generally very useful. Yeah, but you know what? That being said, let's research our armor here first, just so that we are not building all of the old stuff while we're doing this. And I think in 35 days or so, no, we're probably going to want to go for concentrated industry first. We've done psychological warfare, so that is very nice. Let's go over here into intelligence agency. Let's see what we can do next. I don't think we need anything very specific over here. Blueprint stealing is of course nice. Invisible ink would be intelligence gained from operatives and infiltrated assets. That of course is very nice. Plastic explosives over the long term I think is a good idea. But for the first thing, I think what we want to do is form a decryption or cryptology department, which will give us the chance to invade and spread a couple of things as we go ahead. Now let's go ahead over here and let's boost communist ideology in Persia, and I think that should be visible here very soon. So sooner rather than later we should see slowly ticking up the ideology of communism in Persia, and that should ultimately lead to a position where we... Come on, are you not doing that? Basic machine tools, well that's very nice. Are you not very effective, are you? Yeah, your national coverage isn't great. So that is very much degraded. So let's build your network instead, so that we have a little bit more coverage. We've also formed the cryptology department, so that is nice. We can become a spy master, and that will unlock another slot, which I think is going to be very useful for us. And other than that, we are going to get another after we've done the 5th upgrade. We've currently done 2, so what else would we want to do? I think radio interception would be very nice. Passive defense would also be very good. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do that first. And I think that's going to be great. Research slot. What do we do? Basic industrial. And we're going to go for concentrated industry because that's going to give us a very nice boost. And we've got a couple of things done over here. Let's just finish this stuff up, which I think is going to be alright. There we go. Right, perfect. So that is very nice. We are building this up slowly but surely. Italy and Ethiopia doing things. We don't really have any counterintelligence for now, but soon we're going to have that. Stalinist constitution done. So now the question is, what do we want to do next? Now I think... I always have a question whether to go collectivist propaganda or positive heroism. Positive heroism does have one big advantage, and that is the effect of socialist science, which give us recruitable population 3%. That is fairly big. Currently we have 1.5, so that more than triples, or that basically that does triple our available manpower, which is a huge effect. Basically that's 5 million people. So that is a very good effect. Also progress cult here, plus 10% research speed. Yes, I think this is a very good chuck, very good pick, so let's do that. We've also got a bit of political power now. The first thing I do want to do probably is go to war economy, and that does give us much better building capabilities, better construction speed basically, and I think that is going to be extremely useful. Yeah, let's go war economy right away. Fantastic. Right, so that should give us a big boost. And of course soon we're going to get into the construction of military factories over here, which I also think is going to be fine. Passive defense done. So that's the 4th upgrade, I believe. One more and we can recruit another agent. And let's go economy civilian here. It's going to be another 30 days, but after that we are going to be able to do something with you. Can we boost communism over here now? What's your 12%? That's not a lot. Construction done. Improved machinery tools are still slightly far away. Let's go for engineering then and get the 4% boost there. So the way that this works is you can see the base here is 0.1 base drift per day, which is being boosted by about 50%. So we should see something like 1.5, 0.15, but that is scaled due to the national coverage, 12%. And I think the 12% does relate to the size of the intelligence network that we've got, which currently is slightly lower. I'm not sure whether this builds up while you're doing the propaganda or whether it only builds up while you're building up the intelligence network. Let's test that out and see for a couple of things over here. There's our 5th upgrade, so in 30 days we will be able to recruit one more agent, which is going to be extremely useful, I believe. We've also now have got a cryptology department, which again is going to be extremely useful for us. Do we want to do anything in particular? I think Army Department is going to be useful as well. Although honestly we could take a while to check that out. Decisions. Let's go for the... It's going to take 90 days. That's a lot actually. Yeah, let's try it out. I do want to try it out. Let's see whether we are going to be able to win against Germany or absolutely we're going to be hammered, which might as well be. Yeah, let's also check out here a couple of things. Yeah, you guys basically your job is going to be to watch Poland. There we go. Beautiful. Nationalist has declared war on Republic Spain. So that should be interesting. We also can modify our government. Don't think we want to do volunteers only, but what we can do is we can pick Vasaladov Makulov. Not sure whether that is how you pronounce it. He's going to give us another operative slot and agency upgrade time minus 15%. I do like that idea. Right. Let's also check out whether we've got any new national ideas. Home of the Revolution, Trotsky's plot. No, these things are still as they were. I think we do need this to tick over. Let's see whether it's going to tick over in a month or so. Army Department, so that's done as well. Upgrades only now only take 25 days, which is fairly fantastic. Commander training would be lovely. Could go for interrogation techniques. That would certainly fit in with the Stalinist theme, I think. But also for radio interception. And that does bring me, before we go ahead here, to cryptology. So we may add one country as a decryption target, and what's going to happen is slowly this is going to tick up and reveal intelligence. You can see it's going to take 960 days. So because we are very, very bad at doing this, this is going to take quite a while and not going to be that useful immediately, but it's going to be coming in very handy once that is ticking down, and as we develop our thing, it's going to be slightly better. Positive heroism done, which is going to give us nice effects, but more importantly it does unlock progress cult and therefore give us access to the better technology. You can also see we have now some counterintelligence over here, so that is also very useful. But yeah, your national coverage not so great. Let's see who we can recruit now. We've got a couple of seducers over here and commando. Own operative detection chance, well that's very nice. Capture cipher effectiveness, capture cipher risk, sabotage risk. You seem very nice. I'm going to recruit you and we're going to use you to build up a spy network over here. So that does mean your job here, the national coverage, is going to tick up immediately, and that is going to make the job of this guy here a little bit easier, and that in turn should mean that communism is going to spread much faster here as we go ahead, which I like. Right. The other positive effect about this is, here we go, radio inception, and that should mean we are getting now more cryptology. Yes, we do. So we are getting this much faster. Let's go for better radio interception as well. Now, I was about to say, the nice thing about operatives is that you get one for every 2 countries in our faction. So if we can get a lot of countries into our faction, we're going to get a lot of operatives here. And that would certainly be extremely nice. How are we looking in terms of... Oh, well, that's nice. We do get the better stuff over there. It is still 1936, so... Well, I do think radio is extremely important, so let's go for that immediately. And of course, let's upgrade here the build to the BT7, which is going to be extremely... which is going to be at least a little bit alright. Good. By the way, what I could do potentially is pull all of the normal infantry guys into a new group over here, and likewise do the same with the mountain divisions, and we're going to train up the mountain divisions here for a little while. That should give us a little bit of army experience, which is also going to be nice. And I do think what we also want to do is, in terms of production, I think it would be great to build some tactical bombers. TV3s. Not a lot, mind you. Just maybe one I think is going to be fine. Right. We can recruit another operative over here. Oh, what are you? Demolition. Sabotage. Strength and resistance. Sabotage costs. Seducer. Well, you are very nice. But how long is our decision to build up this over here? 28 days. Let's see whether we can recruit someone from Persia. That would be extremely nice. Or from Iran, I should say. At this moment in time. Data interception group done. And let's go for government cipher. So that is sort of the flip side. We are defending better against cryptology. But it's also going to be extremely useful, I believe. Right. In terms of army, we could potentially have a look at what you guys are doing. Sukov over here can get winter expert. Not bad. Really? That's all you can get? Huh. Anyone else does have any promotion available? Yeah, you guys do. Aggressive assaulter. Breakthrough chance increased. And assault tactics. Yeah, that does sound lovely. Organization first or division recovery. Don't think reinforcement rate is going to be that useful. But recovery rate is almost universally useful. What are you? You're relatively good at defending. Yeah, let's go for max entrenchment on you. That should be relatively harmonating. Got another old guard over here. Yeah, let's go for the same with you. Kulikov, you are also not that great, honestly. Yeah, that's alright. Good, yeah. 25 commands, so that can recover. Concentrated industry done. It's late 1936. Is there anything that we want to do specifically in 1936? Yeah, the scout planes. So let's research them. Progress called done, plus 10% speed. Also very nice. Socialist science is gonna grant. Yeah, I do think we want to at least beeline towards the research slot before we go into the purges. Government Cipher School. Let's do another one on these. So that we basically get another stuff. So now that we are having a bit of a larger intelligence network, you can see it's now at nearly 60%. We can do a couple of things over here. So we can do what's called operations, and for operations you need some baseline support. So for example 35%. You need a couple of guys who are capable of doing this. And then you can basically go ahead and start to do some things. For example, we could infiltrate the civilian government, which would allow us to steal industrial blueprints. It's going to also give us much better intelligence options about them. I don't think for now any of that is useful, at least not for Iran itself. So maybe we can hold off for that for now. But let's see how we are doing in terms of our... Oh yeah, we can create this. So let's try to recruit over here. So who are you now? You are Persian, so that's lovely. We're going to get a bonus for that. And you're a seducer, so that's also very nice. So what I would like you to do is also build up our network over here. So you're going to get over here. You're going to get a big boost on that. You can also see as two agents are doing the same thing in the same country, you are going to get a debuff of around 50% on that. But I still think it's alright because we're building up our network so lovingly over here, and the bonus here on this guy is growing so much faster, so that is very nice indeed. Let's basically check out how close we are to communist yet. 7% doesn't sound like much, but at 20% we can start to ignite some coups or something like that. So that I think is a lovely idea right there. Good. What did I just take away? Oh, it was, I think we just finished Government Cipher School. Yeah, so our cryptology level is increasing over here. We could go for machine... Oh, no we can't, because we don't have mechanical computing. Well, that's alright. We are researching that right now, I think. So, I think the next thing to do over here would be commander training. Commander trait is pretty useful, I believe. So yeah, on the other hand, just increasing our defense might also be a very nice idea, as we are trying to build up our base over here. So that being said, that I think does sort of nicely lay out our things over here. It is 1936, late 1936. We haven't really built up much of our infrastructure yet, but I'm going to reorder all of these armies here in between episodes, and we're going to see next time around whether we can flip Iran, maybe to the communist side. You can see the baseline is we have a very strong intelligence network over here, so that I think is very nice. Yeah, that being said, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I hope to see you around next time. Bye bye.